Hello and welcome back to Beards, Bourbon, and Games. I'm your co-host Mike, and with me today is
Chris.
and we're back again with another board game review. It's been a little bit, but it's been kind of a busy summer, so we're pretty excited to get back on track here. Today we are doing Merchants of the Dark Road, a game we saw 2 years ago at Gen Con, and if you saw that video, you may have seen. But we are excited. Let's get into it. All right, well, in true fashion, Chris, why don't you start us out with telling us a little bit about the game?
Sure. Here's an introduction to Merchants of the Dark Road. On the frozen world of Lumi, life is possible only where the blazing quartz thaws the ice. Here, where the dark of night lasts the whole winter long, there is work to be done. Even in darkness, merchants are needed to carry goods and travelers between the capital city, High Reach, and the smaller outlying towns. A clever merchant always journeys with some of the intelligent animals of Lumi. With the aid of these animals' companions, and by the light of the lanterns, there is money to be made from selling goods and prestige from difficult deliveries. Whoever wants victory as a merchant must seek both. So, in this game, Merchants of the Dark Road, you are a merchant, and your job in this dark, dingy kind of landscape is to deliver goods and people to outlying towns from the main city of Lumi. Now you go about doing that um, by hiring or by letting people know that you're available to ferry them or to take them by cart, which are here, to the outlying towns, which some of those towns are not named Northbreak and Wingglass and Farglen. You also can take goods. Uh, Maybe some of these outlying towns need certain goods. Well, you do that by collecting these small cards here. And once you get the goods uh, on your cart, then you load up and you head that way and you deliver those goods and you get money or prestige, whichever one you're delivering for those goods. Now, one thing I really want to say right off the bat is that this game is extremely thematic. I don't know how you felt about it.
Oh, I agree completely. The boards alone make it so nice.
Oops.
That's just the upgrades from the game we just played.
Yeah.
The boards themselves are amazing. They're done so well. Your die have a good spot for your dice. All your actions they're all recessed, so as you put them down in there, they stay. As your goods, like he was talking about getting, as you collect goods, you actually have to put them in your cart, and your cart space is limited, which is really cool because so you have to figure out how to make everything fit. And you can rearrange at any time. There's no like, oh, this is stuck here forever, I'm screwed. No, say I get something I need to make more room, I can actually move something around to be able to put another staff or something in there. And like you said, when you get these commissions to go into different towns, you have to make sure that you're loaded up with, say you're going to Farglen. Oh, I'm Farglen. If I go and take a book, a gun, and armor, I get more money or more prestige, like he was saying. But I also want to, get some more, so I'll take people with me. I hire I basically fare out the people, the heroes that want to come with me to these towns.
Right.
It's just, it's so beautiful, and it just the board, your tableau board is just great. That's one thing that drew us to the game, and I mean, even your lanterns, which you use to do different actions like re-roll dice and things like that, they are just beautiful, and they fit in the board so perfectly.
Yeah.
They just snap right in there.
We'll show you some up close of the upgraded components you get. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Let's kind of go through this a little bit at a time and decide. Look at the game as a whole, and see what we think about how this game plays and how much we enjoy it.
All right, Chris. So that being said, kind of a little bit about the game. How hard is this game to learn if someone new came in and started learning it?
Well, that's a little bit uh, of catch-22 with this game. It's absolutely beautiful, and as you can see, look at the table. uh, there in the audience, you see that there is a lot going on. So we talked about it and we felt that this game is probably not a gateway game. It's not a game that you would want to teach someone who's never played a board game. The best way to drive someone away from board gaming is to try to teach them an involved game that has a lot of things going on. We decided that it would be best for someone who is intermediate to advanced. Now, I'm sorry, but if you are if you're a intermediate player, um, then just realize that if you get this game and you're going to introduce it to someone who's never played a board game, you're going to have to be very careful and very slow in explaining how this game works, because there are just so many things going on. Would you agree?
I agree completely. There's so, like you said, there's so much in this game. Now, the game flows great. We'll get that to it in that game mechanics section. The game
Yeah.
flows great, and once you know what you're doing, it just it works. But the learning process of this game takes a while. Like the setup of this game took us forever because we had to figure out where everything went. Our first playthrough, of course, where everything went, how it's supposed to go. We ended up having to watch a few videos
That's right.
of people actually playing through the game to kind of get it. I mean, the rules are okay how they're laid out. There's some questionable stuff. One good example is there is some starting cards that when you're setting up the board, it says remove the starting heroes and put them to the side, but it doesn't tell you how to know what the starting heroes are. And we eventually figured out that there's a symbol on the back that shows that that's a starting hero.
That's right.
But that just took us a bit because we had this big stack of cards that we had just put in the box after we got everything out. We're like, well, what are starting heroes? What qualifies as a starting hero?
Yeah.
Um, but we finally figured that out. Um, and it's not so bad. It's so complicated that you couldn't learn it, but it's just going to take a little bit.
Right.
It will definitely scare off a new player because there's a lot of sitting around the table. How does this work? How does this do? Now that we know how to play the game better, I
Yep.
feel like I could explain it to somebody, but each area does something different. The Great Bazaar, that's where you buy your goods, how that works, how you go to the inn where you get people. The dark market, how it all works completely different. The Queen's Commission, that's an easy one. You just take a tile.
That's right.
That's the easiest of them.
That's right.
Uh, how the dice are set in a way that how you actually activate the areas.
Yeah.
Um, Traveling is a big part of it, and that's completely different, and that's a whole nother thing to get into. But
So
um,
what you need to do is think about when you first got into board gaming.
mhm.
Um, even for experienced board gamers like us, we still get apprehensive when comes to our turn. We're like, okay, so exactly what am I supposed to do? But once you get past that, I mean, probably third, fourth round, you, you learn how to play, and the game starts to flow, and
Yeah,
that's the fun part. You know to do this, and in your turn, I know me, and I know same with you and the other players. We had 4 or 5 things that we could do on our turn, and once we learned how to do that, man, it just flew. It
oh yeah.
flowed, and it was so much fun.
Learning all the different symbols is a thing. There's actually a key on the back of the book that helps out a lot with that. But
Yeah,
there's a lot of symbols, and we'd all have to stop and look that symbol up and figure it out.
yeah,
But again, once you learn the game, it flows really well. So I
right,
don't want you to don't take us saying this is a hard game to learn initially
right.
as a oh, I shouldn't do it. We just don't
Yeah,
want you
I
to
shouldn't get this game. No, no, no.
you're yeah, like your wife. Let's say your wife you've been trying to get into board gaming forever, and you finally convince her to play a game with you. Don't do this one.
No. This is not the game for her. No.
It will just she'll be like, no, I'm never playing with
Yeah,
you
if
ever
this
again.
is the way board games are, I never want to play another one. So yeah, this is like I said, more for intermediate to advance. So and then if you do want to teach someone new, just make sure that you go slow and you let them make mistakes, because a new game player is really going to make mistakes. But I think if you decide you want to teach someone brand new, once they get the hang of it and once it starts to flow, they'll fall in love with this game.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like we all agreed the first I think 3 rounds that we all just kind of oh, I did this in a bad order. We all just agreed to take backs for the first couple of 3 rounds,
Yep.
as long as it was still your turn, of course. But it's because of all of that that we actually scored this a 4 out of 5 in difficulty to learn for new players or
That's right.
for anybody learning the game fresh out of the box. So
Yeah. And our scale, just so you know, just so you remember, one is this game is so easy, I don't even have to look at the rules because I can figure it out.
like blackjack or
To five being, you know, oh my gosh, this game is so intense that it's going to take 3 days to figure it out.
like
So
Twilight Imperium
yeah,
as an example.
right. So 4 out of 5 is where we set this. So just be aware before you purchase the game. So the next category we're going to look at is aesthetics and build quality. I don't know, Mike. You're going to have to convince me. How how nice is this game?
This game's horrible. It just they
Oh,
they,
now
they, they
come
just they just
on.
wrote a piece of paper and threw it in a
Oh,
box.
come on. Don't be harsh like that.
This game is amazing. This is another situation just like Lizard Wizard that we have to give it 2 scores, and I'll explain. So what you see before you and in this box is the Kickstarter edition that is still available, but it is the bulky edition that comes with all these nice trays to carry everything with. If you want to pull those out, I'll show you. It
Yeah,
comes with
we'll show some up close of these, but you have metal coins.
that are just they're multicolored metal coins. They're not just oh here's a solid colored metal coin.
You have lanterns.
That are really beautiful.
They're resin cast. I mean, they are just they. I think for one of our players, this was the one thing that they absolutely loved. Um, you have some resin
Your
that
quartz.
looks like quartz, correct? And then part of the game are horseshoes. But in the base game, these are all cardboard.
Yeah.
There's nothing here that in the base game it's all cardboard.
Right. Like this uh, the dice are really really nice. They're really well painted. I a lot of times when I look at dice like this where there's different colored backgrounds, I wait to see if there's like weird blemishes or anything. None of that is on there. It's all really good. There's all kinds of different dice you have to use, and they all are very pretty. I think you even get these in the base game, if I remember correctly. These are still in the base game. Um, they're all very colorful. They're very bright out here. Now here's the coolest thing.
No, wait a minute, wait a minute. Here, let me have that. Have that. Okay, so this wheel ends up going around, and the one thing I didn't like about the game is the fact that every time that you turn this, it would go flying around. Am I telling the truth or
Yeah, in the demo game we looked at, yeah.
oh well, how do they fix that? How does it stay in place and not?
So they fix that by taking this and putting a magnet in it and putting a magnet in the board where it goes, so it just
There's a
snaps into place.
magnet that holds the spinner. We've never ever seen that, and that is a fantastic addition to this
That
game.
was so cool to me when they did that.
Yeah.
The animal cards are beautiful. The art is really done well on here. All the heroes are very awesome looking. They just and I'll show you some close-ups of these now, but they're all different looking heroes. They did a really good job on designing them. The the weapons and stuff that you get, they're double-sided because this is a base version and this is a magical weapon, and they look so good.
Yep.
Like he was keep pointing
The
at
cards, in the base game, they're cardboard, but in the regular game, or in the upgraded game, each card is different. It's a different shape, a different color, and something that one of our players pointed out, and we'll show an up close of this. But you have these small cards that go on the prestige track, and I didn't realize it till she had said something. But every one of those markers represents what a flame looks like. It could be orange, the flame could be red, it could be yellow, and it could be white. So she thought that was a really something that they didn't have to do, but an addition that they did to just make the game more thematic.
It's a real nice touch because
It is.
lanterns and light and heat in this game, in this world, are so important that it's a real nice touch. So they didn't use like, here's a green one, here's a blue one, like you normally do.
Right,
That's
right.
And we don't know for sure that's what they did, but it seems that way. Like to me, after she pointed out, we're like, yeah, that's got to be what that
What it
is.
appears to us, yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just it's so nice. The quality of the cardboard is nice and thick
Yes.
too. I mean, you're not getting these little flimsy ones that are just going to break on you quickly. Now I know most board games are getting that way where they make sure to give you good solid cardboard, but it's really nice. These are really these your carts are held up really well. I'm actually going to tell one on Chris here. We spilt some grease from some food we were eating earlier on one, and it just cleaned right off.
Yep.
So I mean, it's definitely a very good quality. It's got a decent coat on it.
It is.
I just can't quit talking about how nice these games are. A lot of things are double sided and they're printed differently on both sides. Like this
Yep.
is a base building, this is a bigger, badder building, so you have different things you can do.
And in the upgraded version, I'm pretty sure. I don't think there may be sections in the. Well, I don't know if I should say it, but anyway, these are double layered boards. And the thing I know for sure is that this section here is where you put your lanterns. In the base game, there's a small cutout so that when you put the lantern in, it sits flat, like so. So I know in the base game, because I've got the base game, that's not there. It's just basically a flat section to where um, you just put the cardboard on top of. So the upgraded parts of this game are just fantastic.
And like your part of the game is you don't want your rivals to know how much money you have, so you're supposed to hide them with these screens, um, which are actually really done well. It tells you there's actually scoring in here. We couldn't figure out where the scoring was because we didn't use these because in the upgraded version you can get these little packs to hide everything in, which is really nice. But it's got your player turn order in here and stuff for you too. And these are actually pretty thick. I don't feel like these would break too often.
No.
By accident anyway. But all that being said, the reason why we have two scores is because we loved this upgraded version so much. We're giving it a 5 out of 5. We can't.
It's our second five. The only other game that we gave a 5 to was Lizard Wizard, because that the upgrades in that game were just as good.
And in context of this game, we don't know what they could have made better as with the upgraded version.
Yeah.
Like it's just it fits so great. Everything is very thematic. Everything fits together really nicely. The game comes with these trays. Like all of this breaks down. There's trays in the box over there for the mat, for the board, and everything to fit in perfectly. Different individual card slots. They definitely planned it out really well. It is.
Now let me explain
Super
something
nice.
about the standard edition. The standard edition comes with everything that you see here, but more in cardboard form. But the thing I found that I didn't like about the standard edition is that it is about half the size of this box. And you have to fit everything that's here in that box. Let me tell you, it was difficult. I had to make myself an insert to put most of this stuff, and still I have a little bit of the box rise. Um, that being said, if the cost of course, you know this, the cost of the upgrade is going to be more than the cost of the standard edition. Now, if you can only afford the standard edition, get it, and you'll fit everything in the box. Not a big deal. But if you can afford the upgraded version, we highly recommend that you get that. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, 100%. If you can get the upgraded version, go for it. Nice thing there, you can buy the standard version, and then they sell individual kits to upgrade it. So over time, you can purchase the bigger version, and we'll
Right.
get to that in a later section. But um, the game is so good that a having just the base game is worth it. That's what you can get.
Right.
So,
So what rating would you give the base game?
the base game I'd still give a 3.5,
Yeah.
just for the sheer fact that the cards are beautiful. This is still part of it.
Yeah.
This just blows my mind. This is such a good idea.
It is a good idea.
That was
I'm surprised other games haven't figured that out and done things like that.
The quality of the cardboard is still nice. I mean, it's not bad. The upgraded stuff just enhances the game to me.
Yeah.
Like you know me by now. I'm a sucker for metal coins. So
That's
when they
right.
had
That's
those,
right.
it's like I've got to have them.
Yeah, and I agree. It's the upgraded version just makes the experience more thematic.
Yeah.
It really does. It really does add to the theme of the overall experience.
Okay, so after aesthetics and build quality, we get into game mechanics. Chris, tell us about the game mechanics.
Okay, so as you can see, there's a lot going on with this game. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of how the game works. So the first thing that you want to take a look at, we want to take a look at, is your game board. Now, your board is your base of operations. In this section is going to be where you collect your goods. Up here is where you're going to collect your lanterns. And then down in this section is where you kind of start the game. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to have so many dice that you can use for the game, if I can get them to set in there. Okay, so when your first move that you do is you take one of these dice, and you'll have several that are down in this wheel area. So you take one of your dice, and each one of these sections gives you something that you can do. The first section, if you move this dice up into, well, there I'll go. That's all right. We'll keep going. If you move a dice from here through this section, it allows you to gain a good. This one allows you to gain a lantern, or take, if you have an upgraded die, what are these dice called again?
Illuminated dice.
Illuminated dice. You can take this illuminated dice and put it in a place. This last section lets you advance the wheel that has goods on it one space, or you get 2 coins. Now that's where you start. So depending on what you're doing, and depending on where your cart is, um, on the board there is 5 junctions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You move around the city on these different tracks, and each track puts you in a different part of the city. The first track puts you at the inn and at the dark market. The second intersection puts you at the inn and the Great Bazaar. That's right. The next intersection puts you where you can travel to the outlying cities or the Queen's commissions. And then the last section also, you can travel to outlying cities and the dark merchant, or the dark market. So the part of the game, or the most important part of the game that you need to understand, is that your goal is to go to the inn and announce to everyone there, hey, would anybody, I've got a cart and I'm going to be traveling to the outlying cities or areas. Does anybody want to come along? And the way to do that is, if you have purchased some of the goods, then you sell those goods to those merchants, and they come along with you on on your cart, and they sit up here. Now, you can also go to the Grand Bazaar. When you go to the Grand Bazaar, depending on where the dice are, can you show the dice here?
Yep.
Dice have different symbols on them, and they sit on the rondel there. And depending on where they are, you have to purchase each one of those different items, and they go into your cart. Then at a certain point, you may have your cart full of goods, and you may have 2 or 3 people that are ready to go to the outlying cities. Now, there's something else that you can get as well. It's the Queen's commissions. The Queen's commissions, how they work is, you get a Queen's commission. Then you decide, okay, in this one, I need 2 armor and 1 staff. So you go to the Grand Bazaar and you purchase those items. You put them in your cart. Then when you decide you're ready to go, you got your cart full of supplies. You got 2 or 3 people that are ready to go, and then you announce, okay, to the other players, I'm going to be going to, let's say, Windglass. So in your cart, you have several items that you already packed away, and you're going to Windglass. When you announce, people can either go with you or they can say, no, there's no reason for me to go to Windglass. So then you travel to Windglass. And the way you do that is you choose a companion, and there's usually 3 that are laid out. One of them always has, what is this dice called again?
Travel die.
A travel die. So usually we found in the game, we always chose the one that had the travel die
Yeah.
because it's an extra dice that you can use to roll. So then once you choose that, then you decide whether you're going to be going down the dark road or the shortcut. Now, the shortcut, if you'll see, has a 3 and it looks like a lantern next to it. You have to give up 3 lanterns in order to go to the shortcut. Uh, once you decide that, you choose the top card of whichever one you're going to go to, and you'll notice that at the bottom here, there's several numbers, and we'll show you an up close of this. You have 5, 6, 3, 4, 2, and all the cards are different. But you'll notice that some are in black and some are in red. So once you choose where you're going to go or how you're going to go, then it depends on how many people you have. So if it's just you and you've chosen a companion with the travel dice, you get 2 travel dice to roll. Once you roll them, you look at the numbers that are rolled against the card. If you get like a 2, then you get a penalty. If you get like a 4 or 5 or 6, you get um, a bonus. Now, the thing about this is we found as we were playing the game that sometimes it depends on if the person is going to be doing a dark road or a shortcut. If they're doing a shortcut, then whatever you roll, it goes by player count. So if Mike was the first player and I roll, and let's say all 4 of us go, Mike, another player here, another player here, and then it's me. I roll 4. The first person that chooses one of these items is Mike. Then the next person, and I end up being last because as we're going around. But if you choose to go the dark road, then I am first, and it goes in player order after that. So you've got to weigh that when you get ready to go. Now, once that has been resolved, you offload your personnel, and that gives you, by doing that, it gives you so many prestige points or so many gold points, depending on the city that you're in or the little town that you're in. You also unload your cargo. And again, that gives you prestige points, and it gives you certain bonuses and certain uh, things that you can get from the game. And then once that's done, your turn is over, and we kind of go through again. Now, there's different things that you can do. You can go to the Ruins of Yin, which is a special die that you roll. You can also, uh, not by traveling, and there's another special area. And then there's 4 other areas that you can go to as you're going around in the city. Some take a special illuminated die. Some take a regular die. So as you're playing the game, as you go through a round, you start out with so many dice. I think you start out with 7 dice altogether, or 8.
7 night dice and 1 illuminated dice.
There you go. Each At the end of each round, you lose a dice, and so that's it. The whole game takes 13 rounds, and at the end of 13 rounds, that's when the scoring occurs. Is there anything I missed? Anything we need to talk about that I might have missed?
The only thing is, after you travel, if you are the person who initiated the travel, you get what's called good fortune. And what that is it's a boon. It can be getting another illumination dice, and these are really hard to get a hold of. So
Yeah.
these are great. These basically allow you to do 2 things, sometimes 3 things on your turn. Normally, you only get one. Like we use a regular die, you only get to do one of the 2 things you're near of, because these buildings require illuminated dice. But if you use that middle action you talked about on your board, you get both of these. So you get to do both the Great Bazaar and the commissions, and you get to do the building in the middle for free. Um, you also can get a deed, which is stuff that's scored at the end of the game. These are secret. These are kept secret.
That's right.
You can get 3 gold, 5 if you're the first one to take it, or you get a wagon upgrade, stuff like that. That when you craft an item, instead of just being a normal item, you craft a magic item.
Yeah. And you
Now,
can see the difference. That's a regular item, and then the upgraded item is gold.
you're probably asking, why would I ever take a shortcut if I'm the last one that can choose the boon? Well, the shortcuts allow you to get 2 good fortunes off of that, so you can get 2 illuminated dice, or you can get illuminated dice and some gold, or you can get an upgrade and some gold. So that's kind of why you take the shortcuts,
Right.
because you get more things. But other than that, yeah.
Yep. And then there's also, you can use, let's say on those dice, let's say we took a shortcut, and on the dice, there's 3 1s, a 2, and a 3. So it goes to Mike. He's definitely going to use the 1. Or I'm sorry, let's do this again. 2, 3, 4, and 6. So he's definitely going to use the 6 because it gives you the best thing on this card. And then the next person is going to use the 3, and they're going to get a good thing. But the other 2 players are going to have to take something negative. Well, if you've got extra lanterns, you can turn in a lantern to re-roll those last 2 dice. And sometimes when we did it, we had one guy, one of our players, who I think he went through 3 lanterns and couldn't get those dice to roll quite right. So then it came to me, the person who initiated the shortcut, and I had like three lanterns. I gave up a lantern, and sure enough, it came up. Both dice came up good numbers to where we could get bonuses, and so both me and the player before me got to get bonuses for that. So um, it allows for a little bit of, it gives you a little bit of leeway to recover in certain things. So, but that's pretty much how you play the game. It was kind of short and sweet, but there is a person online, and we'll put his name in the description. And he did a fantastic job of how to explain how to play this game. So if you need an explanation, a little bit more involved explanation, you need to go and look at his videos, because he did a fantastic job. That's where he answered questions that we had. Well,
Right.
how do we do this? How do we do that? We watched his video and we're like, oh, okay. And that's kind of what got us started.
Because this is, normally we try to explain exactly how the game is played in kind of a little bit of detail, but there's just so much to this game that it would take too long.
Yeah,
so
we would be
I highly
here
recommend checking out his video. We'll link it down below if you want to learn how to just play it. He just does a playthrough tutorial of it. It's not a review or anything. It's
Right.
just tutorial. So,
Right. So did we give this a score yet?
yep.
Okay.
That we gave this a 4 out of 5 because honestly, when you learn the game, like we said at the beginning, learning the game is a little hard, but once you learn the game, it just flows.
That's right. After like the 3rd round, we were flowing, and it was kind of fun to watch each player. They would be like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go here. I'm going to buy this. Okay, now I'm ready to go to the market. Okay, I'm doing this and that. And it just really was a joy to see all the cool things that each player could do on their turn. And that's why, again, we're going to go back to the beginning of the video and explain, because of the difficulty in learning how to play this game, that's why we don't think it would be good for someone who's just learning how to play board games.
Right. But like I said, once you get it down, it's pretty easy and it's fun. Inventory management in games has always been a great thing for me. Like it's always just a lot of fun to kind of figure out where stuff goes in video games, and they kind of brought that into this game.
Right.
Figuring out, oh, do I have enough space to do all this? Oh, I need to go to Windglass. I need to take a staff, a gun, and a potion, but do I have enough room to do that?
Yep.
It's just so much fun, and there's always something you can do, no matter where you drop, where you land. You can do something. So I never felt like I could not do anything. It may not have been the thing I wanted to do because
Right.
it's more efficient, but I always felt like, okay, here's an option. I can do something, or I can move a little bit more
Yep.
if I give up an item or something.
Yep.
So it's all very well put together and very well thought out. They did such a good job on it, and the fact that the price of goods change um, is really cool.
Yep.
We actually had one player who it never failed. Every time he went to sell something, he got 5 is the most you can get for an item, and
Yep.
he'd get 5 every time.
Yep.
It was just right on the money on that, and it was an accident.
Yeah, but it happened almost every round. Um, again, uh, just so you understand, once you get into this game, and once you get about the third turn, it starts to flow, and that's when it starts to get fun.
Oh yeah,
So if you can teach someone that's new to board gaming and get them past that, get them into that third or fourth round, and they start understanding how to play and they start having fun, you got them.
yep.
Okay, so this game's got a lot to it. Um, how long do you think the game takes to play?
Well, the box says between 60 and 120 minutes, I guess, depending on player count. Um, our first game took about 4 hours.
Yeah.
Just because we were trying to learn everything, get it all down. But I feel like once you've had 2, maybe 3 games under your belt, that 120-minute mark is
Pretty accurate.
pretty accurate, pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Just depends on how much you're drinking at the time.
Yeah, that's a
How much convincing you're doing. So, yeah, I think that's pretty good.
yep, yep. It's and so just so you know that, just make a little bit of a caveat here. Teaching the game and learning the game is going to take you probably twice as long than
Yeah.
that 120 minutes. But once you learn the game and you have played it several times, yeah, easily that 120 minute is attainable. Absolutely.
Okay, so with that time frame and with the mechanics and the beauty of this game, what would you say the replayability of this game is?
Okay, so that's a question. I think uh, that question is gonna be hinging on time frame. So let's say that you've got a gaming group and you they're going to come over at 5. We're going to eat dinner, and about 7 we're going to get into a game, and your game group usually stays till 11, 12 o'clock. This game is easily a game to pull out and to play um, with no question. It will probably come off your shelf because it's such an enjoyable game. It's so many mechanics, so many things to do that you'll enjoy this game in that time frame. Now, let's say that you're only got a friends coming over and you're only going to spend a couple of hours together, then this is not a game that you're going to be pulling off the shelf for a couple of hours because you will go over that time frame. Um, Also, this game is not one that you want to bring a bunch of newer gamers over. Um, like we said in our last clip, um, it took us 4 to 5 hours to just learn the game and get the mechanics down and figure out how things work. So if you're going to teach it, then you need to make sure you have an afternoon. The score we're going to give for it is a 3.5 because it's up there in replayability. Now, let's also go, replayability also is going to be part of, will there be different things to do? Yes, there will be, because this stack of cards, I think we only maybe pulled 3 or 4 of them out of that
Yeah.
stack. So there's plenty there. Out of
Heroes.
the people at the inn, we didn't pull very many people off out of the inn as well. Here in the Queen's Commission, same thing. So yes, there is absolutely plenty of replayability. There's a huge stack of the shortcut cards and the dark road cards. The part of replayability for us is the time frame that you have to play it. Would you agree?
Yeah. Um, the big thing with this too, one reason why I give it a 3.5 score is that it takes a while to set this game up.
Yeah.
Especially if you have the base game, because everything's kind of mixed up and going. It was a little bit faster for us because we had these trays and things that helped out, but there's a lot to this game. We've said a bunch, and there's a lot to get out, a lot to shuffle, a lot of different ways you have to do it and set them up just perfectly. So it can take a little bit to set the game up. Faster once you get used to it, but you have the board game set up, and then there's a separate section for setting up your player board for the first time, and it can take a while, and people can be like, "Yeah, I want to play that game, but I really don't want to get it out."
Yeah.
Is a thing. So that brought the score down a little bit for us.
And this is probably going to be a game that if you're going to plan on playing it, you need to have it probably set up before your guests arrive. Because if you don't, they're going to be standing around waiting while you're trying to get everything settled and put into place.
At least have the board game itself set up, and then they can do the player stuff when they get there. But
Right.
yeah, it takes a bit. I think we'll be faster at it next couple of times we do it, but
Yep.
it's definitely something to take into account because putting this up into the box while everything's got a spot, there's just a lot to put up.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Okay, so now we come to the part of the game that a lot of people are pretty interested in is the cost and availability of this game. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Mike?
Yes, the base game is $60. You can find it. I'm pretty sure some local retailers are starting to get it, which every video we say if you can support your local retailer,
Yes.
please do, because that's where board games are kept alive, is at these local retailers. The deluxe version, the one that we gave a 5 for the aesthetics and build quality, that's still available online. Some retailers have that, but not very many. There's a few parts of that one. The deluxe edition is $100, $99.99 to be more exact.
Yep.
It comes with all the upgraded pieces. It does not come with the metal coins. It does not come with the bags, and it does not come with the expansion, but it comes with everything else upgraded. The metal coins are $45 for the set, which is pretty expensive, but the metal coins they're multicolored. They're not just a single color. There's a lot of detail and stuff into them. They're very beautiful. I have to say, I love metal coins. I couldn't help but buy it. So
and we'll show those to you.
That distinction.
Yep.
The bags, they're $20. You get 4 of them. They're bordered really nice. They're very strong bags. They close so you can keep everything hidden. Do you need them? No. Do you need the coins? No. You can use this to hide your stuff. But again, we ended up buying this at Origins, I think is where we bought this. And we ended up buying, they had the whole set there and they had a bundle deal. There's also an expansion that we haven't even touched on that is also available for $15. It adds some different events. It adds more people. I think it adds a whole nother road to a different place, which is kind of neat.
And also, let's mention that this game is also solo capable. When I first got this game, I think I played it 4 or 5 times solo, and it plays just as well. I mean, almost exactly the same as it would with other players. So if you're looking for a good solo game, then this is one. It's difficult to put out on the table, but if you put it out on the table and let it sit there, you could play it 4 or 5 times and then put it up. But it is fantastic solo.
Yeah. So yes, the game is available. You just really have to make the decision: is it worth the extra money to get the extra stuff, or am I happy with the base game? Because I'm sure the base game still plays the same. It's still fun.
Yep.
We like beautiful things.
Yeah. We just like the. Okay, so with a board game, the main reason that board gamers like yourselves enjoy board games is because of the tactile feel of, or the actual action of putting down a card or picking up a game piece and moving it. So, when you have like a lantern to put into place, or you have coins that you're able to to pull out of a bag and to give to someone. That's just part of the joy of having these games. So we've got that bug. We've been bitten by that bug. We like the tactile feel of coins, of of actual game pieces instead of cardboard. Cardboard is fine. Don't misunderstand me, but just to have that little extra where you can kind of hear the coins, rattle around and actually see the cool looking lanterns and stuff. It's just an upgrade that brings a little bit of joy, a little bit more joy to playing the game.
I agree 100%. All right, Chris, with everything that's been said, mechanics, learn to play time, um, build quality aesthetics, would you recommend this game to somebody?
I'd have to say yes, with caveats. If you're an intermediate game player or an expert, absolutely 100% yes. This is a game that you must have. It's a game that you will enjoy for years. Uh, if you are a brand new board gamer and you found this video and you're watching it, you're wondering, is this a game I should get as my first board game? No, I do not recommend that. If you're a brand new, never played a board game in your life except for maybe Clue or Risk or Monopoly, you might want to hold off on this game for a while. Learn a couple of easier games and ease yourself into it. Once you become intermediate and once you understand what type of games there are out there and you get more comfortable, then yes, move into this game. Would you agree with that? You think?
Yeah, I think the game is very fun. I think it's worth the money. Honestly, I think both versions of the game are worth the money if that means something to you to have like the special things.
Yeah.
I do agree that newer players are going to have difficulty learning this just because there's a lot to it. We had some experienced people at the table, and it was really still hard to get them, while learning the game, to get them to focus. But once we had it, the game was just easy and flowed, and it was really great. So, um, if you are a new gamer and you pick up stuff real quick, you can give it a try. But I recommend getting a few other games under your belt before you pick this one up, just because of the complexity of learning everything that you have to do with the game. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's definitely one that I tell somebody to go out and buy. If somebody's like, I'm looking for a new board game, what should I go buy? I was like, Merchants of the Dark Road,
Yep.
really good, go for it.
And this game is I don't know, it's kind of like, it's weird. It's under the radar. There are games out there that if you're an experienced game player or a gamer or even a intermediate, you hear, I'll use Wingspan as an example. For a while there, all you heard, Wingspan, Wingspan, Wingspan. Oh, great, Wingspan, so great, so great. This game is just as good as Wingspan, in my opinion, but you don't hear a lot about it. You don't hear a lot of people saying, "Oh, you got to get Merchants, got to get Merchants of the Dark Road. It's so great, so great." So it's sort of like flying under the radar, but it really is a fantastic game. It's just good. It's just as good as those games that are popular and that people talk about all the time. Um, uh, the way it looks, the way it plays, the theme. It's very thematic when you play it. So yeah, it's for me at least, it's a highly recommended game that you pick up.
Well, that's about it for Merchants of the Dark Road. What do you think about this game? Have you played it before? Do you think we gave it a crappy score? Again, this is just our opinion. We'd love to hear what you think. But if you like this kind of content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, or check out our other board game reviews. We have all kinds on there now. We have Lizard Wizard, Meadow, Yido, which is still one of our top games. um, but yeah, but as always, I'm your co-host Mike, and with me was
Chris,
and we'll see
see
ya.
ya.